Welcome, 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 coach.
Hi, coach. How are you?
I am super. I am super on our fourth life cycle stage of relationships.
Yeah, I know. I sisebenzile gal. We have journeyed.
So to
We have
recap,
journeyed.
yes, on our journey of becoming one.
Mhm.
The two shall become.
One. Sometimes the three or the four, depending on your preference.
Oh wow, wow, coach. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, please don't go there. You cannot start
Okay.
a whole episode with so much spice. We will deal with your three or four later.
I am quiet.
Thank you very much. So, just to recap,
Mm.
guys, on our life cycle stages, we've covered the merging stage where we are meeting, falling in love, the doubt and denial stage, the disillusionment stage, and today we are really looking at the decision. And this is where we are either deciding to be together or deciding to part ways, meaning ending the relationship. Okay? So, in our decision, coach, at this stage of relationship, are we
Mm.
energetic? Are we positive? Are we rejuvenated? How do we normally show up at this stage before we go into the emotional breaking point?
Wow. We are depleted at this stage. We are literally crawling at this
Yeah,
stage, you know. This is the stage where I always speak about the relationship status versus the relationship state.
yeah,
So this is where that hits. This is where that
yes,
is the most relevant, because in the decision you are making, you are either making a decision that supports the status of the relationship, meaning there are people who decide they are staying together for the sake of being together, for the sake of being in
yes,
a
yes.
relationship. And then there are people who choose the state of the relationship, meaning the health of the relationship. So that's the decision we are making. It's not so much about whether I am walking out of the door, is even when
But,
I'm walking out the door, am I walking
mm,
out of the door and keeping my integrity?
oh,
And I'm walking out with my integrity intact as I walk out of
mm,
the door, so that I don't find myself again in the same
in
relationship
this.
cycle? Or am I staying and I'm keeping my integrity intact? So here it's a
Mm,
question of integrity more than the action that you take. So, are
mm.
you honoring your integrity in your action or your inaction at this point?
Oh,
That's what we're
that one is.
looking at.
Oh, that one is too deep, coach. Because the one thing I'm seeing here, which I would find myself doing and needing to learn to come out of that pattern, is mentally abandoning the relationship. Mentally saying, no, I'm done. I'm not doing anything. No, I'm just dead. And when you mentally, every time when there is some communication I needed to do, some work I needed to do, mentally abandon and find yourself exactly back at the same spot. And now even harder because you keep saying I'm doing something, but actually every time when there is your work to be done, where there is your own growth to consider, you mentally abandon, you leave the relationship, but you're there physically.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, but what's that song? Your body's here with me, but your mind is on the other side of town.
You're messing me around.
Yes, girl. So let's bring all of ourselves back into one assembly.
But when we fear or when we are tired, you just said at this stage we are depleted. The easiest and for some people really it is the hardest is just to mentally disengage and just coexist. And in this coexist, the tension also keeps brewing. The tension from disillusionment keeps growing, and we are carrying it with us in this stage as well. But here, it could truthfully be a moment of destruction when we don't do what work we really, really, really need to do.
You're very right, coach. And one of the dangers of this state is working ourselves into a state of numbness,
Mm.
where we've moved from being depressed about the relationship in disillusionment, and we went into repressing, and eventually we went into regressing. So you
Mm.
literally are regressing and you are not growing
Yeah.
and moving forward at all. And when you've regressed far enough, you get to that point where you feel like, because as a human being, human nature demands of us that we grow. And when you insist on regressing, because how are you regressing? You are literally self-abandoning. It's not
Mm.
just the mental. That mental abandonment is a level of self-abandonment. So you are literally self-abandoning. You are literally
Mm.
self-betraying, and because it goes against human nature, you start regressing instead of growing. And you, when
Mm.
you've regressed far enough, you, because you cannot deal with it, your humanity doesn't allow you to function and accept regression. You get yourself to, in order to survive, a state of numbness
Mm.
where you're just going with emotions. Where if
Yeah,
everybody is
we
asking you,
exist.
how is it going? Uthi amahlala khona. Hey, sengabe amahlala khona. Hey bo,
Mm.
hey man, who is here in life to deal with amahlala khona? Why? So we get to that
And why is
state,
that?
and
Yes.
that's a conversation for another day. So we because now we've numbed ourselves and we've regressed and we've become so small in our world and in our way of thinking and in our way of operating, we fail to even see the bigger picture of life, the bigger picture of existence, the bigger picture of joy,
Of
the
us.
bigger picture of love, the bigger picture of sacrifice that is not that is not self-betrayal, that is not self-abandonment, the type of
Mm.
sacrifice that says, I'm going to give up this little piece in order for me to get this big piece. So we
Mm.
move from that. So we self abandon at this stage if we do not do the things that are necessary to kind of pull ourselves up, to rejuvenate ourselves, because we are exhausted. And the exhaustion is valid because we've been at that stage where, remember that bag? We did
Mm.
that. The bag has
We're
been burst
carrying.
open, or we've been trying to close it. But then there's the fact that the bag is full. It cannot hold any further. There is just no more capacity for the bag to carry anything. And now we are grasping at straws, literally. Because we are grasping at straws, we need to get to that point of decision. We need to get that to that point of decision, because we get tired of grasping at straws. Do I empty the bag? Do I, when I empty the bag, the mess is too big, so I put the stuff back in the bag? Do I get a bigger bag? I get a bigger bag. The bigger bag gets full in 2 seconds, because now immediately when I see space in the bag, I go and grab my
And
partner's
put
stuff
in
and
more
I put
things.
it in there as well. So it becomes that exhausting thing. And the biggest mistake we make is thinking that it is our partner that is exhausting us, when it is
Mm.
your own focus that is exhausting you, and your own inner
And
turmoil
learning.
that is exhausting you. Exactly.
Yes.
And so
No,
we decide
definitely.
to become secluded in the relationship, like you say, and you are there physically, but mentally, emotionally, you
You're
just
not
are
there.
not.
But also the other big one here is refusing to be proactive in our own healing. And sometimes it's because we think when we do that, we are benefiting the other person, forgetting we are benefiting ourselves the most.
And also, in a coach, with that, I'm laughing because there's a lot of people who confuse healing um, with curing. So
Mm.
we want to cure things, because when we cure things, we rid
Mm.
ourselves of disease, we rid
Mm.
ourselves of the toxicity, and that's impossible. When we heal, we look at how do I become complete with my mess? How do I become complete with my imperfections? How does my relationship be complete with the good, the bad, and the ugly? And so because we have this misconception between healing and curing, we want to cure our heartache. We want to cure
Mm.
our insecurities instead of healing and identifying. Because when we're healing, we get to go through different stages. There's a stage
Yeah,
of just being aware. There's a stage of just being aware and having the awareness be enough. Having the
exactly.
awareness do the stuff without you trying to change things. So if you are wanting to immediately move into the cure and ridding of the dis-ease, then you won't allow yourself to go through these different stages where sometimes it's okay to be messy, where sometimes it's necessary to be in pain, because that's the
Yeah.
only way the pain is going to exit. So we also need to be very aware and very conscious and very clear on how we define all of these necessary steps and things that need to happen as we are being proactive in our relationship maintenance and sustainability. Because a lot of the time as well, we need to now start literally questioning if you need motivation to rejuvenation, external rejuvenation, in order for you to be present in your relationship, then that means that your values and your beliefs have been stuff that you are adopting from everywhere else. They are not
Mm.
authentically yours. So, this is a call to go back to authenticity.
And do.
And it happens to all relationships, it happens to the happiest of relationships. We are madly in love, we are happy, we are doing this thing, but at every next level of our lives and at every next, because we can't help but
Good.
shoot out
Mm.
desires of what we want to do. At every level of our relationships, we want to experience a new, we want to experience the next best. It's human nature. So even in the happiest relationships, all of these things happen.
We wanna
Even in
grow.
the most together relationships, all of these cycles happen.
Mm.
The thing is to be conscious about it and to allow yourself and to give yourself permission. Because once you identify that now I'm needing to be motivated and dragged through, then maybe I need to stop for a while and see, okay,
And
I've lost a lot
reflect.
of somewhere here.
And
I'm not
reflect.
showing up as authentic as I could possibly be. What's better
Mm.
than this? So
Yes.
it's not always, and I always say to people in long-term relationships that this probably is the stage where we need to stop focusing on fixing things in our relationship
Yeah.
and really hone in and start focusing on trying to stay together. Let's try and build together, because there's a difference between the two.
Ah, that's very true, and that's the most, I'm gonna call it, pro relationship view we can have, where we are building and growing and nourishing instead of just moving into our own little corners where we know we are not serving ourselves and also the relationship. And the last part of being a curious student in your relationship. How curious are we though? Of, individually and also from other people, or we just come there with a script of hoping you play this role that I've written down.
Mm, so this goes back to your agenda. Can we just ask each other about our agendas, please? Can there be a rule somewhere?
Oh,
Whoever made these relationship rules, can they go and make an amendment somewhere that we just communicate these things that we are just
uh,
supposed to figure out as we go along? So, what the curiosity does when a coach is, it allows us to be open. It opens the door to vulnerability. It shuts the door to judgment,
yes.
and it gives us permission to unpack those bags freely, you know and make that unpacking as an offering to the betterment and the improvement of our relationship.
Mm.
So we in a way give each other permission to say, I accept and love you, and I appreciate and honor your past, and I love and I appreciate who you are now. And I love you for being who you were, and I love you for being who you are now. And I'm probably even intending and still want to love you for being who you're going to be. So that's what the gift of curiosity
Curiosity.
gives freedom to your relationship, because that's where you get the permission to really be you, because you know that it's allowed, it's acceptable.
Super. Perfect. So, Coach, the one thing which I wanted to be very mindful of, or the guys to be mindful of, is that toxic communication. That we really, really need to be mindful of what we communicate, how we communicate, and why we communicate, especially when we are feeling this part of the life cycle of the relationship. Because whatever toxicity we bring out and whatever toxicity we share with others, if really we are saying we want the relationship, it could be more damaging. And if we are not matured enough to let go and heal and forgive, evolve out of those patterns, it could really start forming a whole toxic pattern that we need to be mindful of.
That's very true, Coach. That's very true. And I think one of the ways that we can help ourselves in curbing toxic communication is to change the intention when we communicate, to not make it about, oh, I need to be seen, oh, I need to be heard, you are not listening to me, you are not seeing me, but to communicate in a sense that puts the relationship first instead
Yes.
of putting me as the individual first. So
Yeah.
let it not be about my honor as Ulondeka. Can it be about the honor of our unit and what I as Ulondeka can contribute into honoring this unit? So I think if we were to just make that little shift in the way we communicate, we could curb our toxicity and we could allow it to serve us, because now we get to see the mirror and we get to see and make decisions. I need to grow from this so that we don't mentally and emotionally abandon the stuff that needs to be serving us. We actually are able to abandon the stuff that is no longer serving us in our relationship. So it will allow us to have that consciousness.
Super. So, Coach, I would like us to really look at our number 5 and the last stage, and so that we can sort of weave through all stages and end this with a really the ability for someone to assess where they are and assess what they need to do to move to whichever stage they feel will better serve their relationship. Is that fine?
Go for it.
Yes. Okay, just a recap. We've done stage 1 to 4 from merge all the way to decision. When we're looking at our wholehearted love stage, Coach, what are the things that pop in this stage?
This is what they call the agape love experience. So the ancient Greeks had 8 different ways that we experience love. And this agape love is said to be that love experience where we are just in sync. It's the closest experience you can have with your partner, that is like the experience we all want to have with God, where forgiveness, unconditional love, that I can just be me, free will. I want to have all of these beautiful experiences as I am. So it's that come as you are, child type of love. And me, I'm gonna take you for forevermore. You are mine. Come to over here, Skibobo type of love. So that's the love that we all in our hearts uh, came here for.
Oof.
And that's the love that we were all taught of. We just were never given the map
To get here. And it's the love we are all capable of.
Yes, that's why we want it, because that's the love that flows within us, actually. That's the type of love that we are made of. That's the type of love that we are able to express and give when we let go of the fear and everything else that stands in our way. That's the connection love. Where whether we are close to each other or we are far apart, we are still together type of love. You know how
And
they say God
here,
is in heaven? and we are on earth, but we still
Yeah.
one. That's the
Yes.
sun.
And here the state versus the status.
This is where the status of the relationship really has no influence.
Mm.
I always laugh with my husband because um, when we started preparing for wedding to wed, we were flooded with advice from everyone, and then this thing became a soccer team, and then everybody was trying their hardest to prepare us for the
Mm.
hardship that is marriage, to a point where we decided, we don't want to do this. We are
Yeah.
not about to commit to a lifetime of hardship, because there is nobody here in our circle that is preparing us for the joy and the bliss of love. Everybody is preparing us for hardship, and we
Yeah.
will not have control. We will not have control of us refusing, because everybody accepts that we are happy and we will be happy, and they are happy to let us be when we are in this type of relationship. Let us not, because we couldn't control at that time. We didn't have enough um, preservation and enough awareness and enough self-preservation measures and strategies to be able to keep that at bay with our
Yeah.
loved ones. So we decided for them to all back off and give us room to be who we are. We decided we are so not walking down that aisle in the way that they want us to. We're gonna hold it right there. So every morning there are times when we wake up and we would literally ask, "Are you sure you still want to be here?" Like we just gave ourselves that open door policy. Listen, I want you to stay with me because you want to be with me,
Because it
even
serves,
when you
yes.
don't want to be with me. I want you to
Mm.
stay with me because it's what you want, even on the days that you don't want. It's okay, you know. So it's that point where it's not about how we are together, how acceptable by society is our togetherness,
Yes.
the fact that you are okay, because the status is the biggest trap. Those marry me in 120 days, live with me in such and such a place, provide for me in X, Y, and Z. The man does this, the one. So you get out of the roles
That we,
of,
yeah.
yeah, you get out of
Then
the
we
roles.
cast ourselves in.
hmm you get out of the roles and you just get into being and allowing. So if today I'm bitchy, I'm bitchy. If tomorrow I'm loving. And it's all
Mm.
acceptable because it's all within integrity for myself and my relationship. So at this stage, the relationship is the driver of who and how we appear, because we have now formed that relationship essence of this is
Mm.
how we connect. So we can, if you think of it, the relationship, the unit becomes a well where we convene at the well. I don't need to carry a 5 liter bucket for me to use the well. I don't need to
Yeah.
carry a 10 liter bucket. I just need to convene at the well and allow the well to do what it does on that particular day.
Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's deep. That's deep. That's deep. And then the intimacy part is beyond what we actually see on the external, even though people love more what they see on the external, especially with this phase. But there's something deeper for the people who are actually doing the work in this phase.
Mm. We actually transcend from
Mm.
intimacy to resonance, where,
Mm.
because resonance speaks of, I see a piece of me in you, and you
Mm.
see a piece of me in me. You
Mm-hmm.
see a piece of you in me. So we get to that point where we transcend me seeing you for who you are, and I
Mm.
start seeing you for who I am.
Mm.
That's the state of resonance. And I love it when, because I learned about this resonance thing when I was trying to
Mm.
figure out this law of attraction thing, and it just wasn't making sense. And I was like, they did a good thing by hiding this thing from us, because people are just on some, I don't know what's supposed to happen, I'm supposed to think, and poof, things happen. So when I learned that, instead opt for the law of resonance, where you
Mm.
understand that my partner is, on some level, in my partner, I see me. in them as
Self.
much as I see them,
Mm.
and allow them to see themselves in me in as much as they see me. When we get
Mm.
to that stage, then I'm not triggered by who you are on a Monday as opposed to who you are on a Friday, because I
Yeah.
just allow you to use me as a mirror, and I gift myself to you as that, to
Mm.
say, okay, on the day you look in the mirror and you are seeing fear, you are seeing all of these things that rub you up the long way,
I'm showing
look at the
you.
mirror. Look at the mirror, darling. It's got nothing to do with me. In the same way that you don't smash the mirror in the bathroom, you're not going to smash me for showing you that on that
Yeah.
day. So we transcend that intimacy and we move into the resonance where we are able to just be synchronized in that way and enjoy our individuality as well at that level.
Ah, super. So we can move into this conscious love. We are conscious parents, conscious partners, you know, consciously
We were
living our
born to be
lives.
conscious. We were
Mm.
born to be conscious. That's the whole journey. That is the
Mm.
journey of life. Consciousness. That's all
Mm.
we all seek. At the very core of everything we may dress it and call it and term it and perceive it, we are all just on a journey of increasing our consciousness.
Mm.
That's
No,
all.
got you. Any closing comments, Coach? I
Love
got
is a
you.
beautiful
Mm.
thing.
It
Love is a beautiful
is.
thing. Love is a scary thing. Love is an exciting
Uh,
thing. Love is a painful thing. And whatever experience of love that we have is all dependent on who we are being at that time. If we
yes,
could just allow ourselves to accept that love will be to us who we are being at any given
at
point
that
of time,
time.
then we will better see ourselves fit and we will better give ourselves permission to navigate this journey of being in relationship, because now we take our power back. We no longer need to wait for the other
Yeah.
person. We no longer need to request, you know, um, from other people permission. We no longer need
Mm.
to request our needs to be met by others. So we empower ourselves when we understand that love will give you who you are being. It's just the nature of life. So if you don't
Ah.
like it, change who you are.
Mm.
If you love it,
And you
do some
love what you
more.
get. Yes,
Mm.
yes.
If you love
And
it,
it
then do some more of that. And expect to
mm,
get to that point, because you are human. Expect to get to that point where I now is no longer enough. I need more, and go for more. Give yourself to say,
be
when I get to that
willing.
point where I know I sound shy to do, let me go find a to do over there. It's no longer here.
Mm.
Wells dry up, you know, rivers dry up. When the rivers dry, I will move. You're not a tree. My coach always says that. Hey,
Mm.
Londis, move.
If you don't
You're
like
not
where
a
you
tree.
are, move. So people must be
Yes.
willing to move the state of their relationship to the desired nourishing space or environment so that they keep evolving and growing.
Yes, coach.
Super. So on the 5 life cycles, guys, you just need to go in and check assessing your relationship with your stage one, merge, stage two, doubt and denial, disillusionment, decision, and wholehearted love, going through each and every stage and assessing in terms of the problem or the presenting symptom for that stage and what you do in terms of solving that problem and seeing whether you are at a space where you are growing, evolving, and really moving in the direction that you want to be. So there is just a reminder to say, we've taken you through the 5 stages. Now go back and do the work for yourself and really check where are you in the 5 stages. And in each stage, how do you deal with whatever presenting symptom your relationship pattern gives you?
So true. Very true, coach. We've done our
Super.
part.
No, coach, I've loved this series, and I think it's important to always go back and check exactly, am I a baby? Am I milking? Am I having solids,
Mhm.
and am I
Mhm.
highly spiritual, living on air, and
Mm.
water? Because also that
Yes.
happens where we are very spiritual, no longer living with
Mm.
people on earth, and
Mm.
then really knowing
Mm.
how to feed and grow ourselves.
No,
Closing shots,
definitely.
coach.
No, thank you so much, Coach, for the wonderful journey and doing the work of the Lord. Hallelujah. So just that solutions always exist
Mm,
for all of us, and they exist equally for all of us. It's a matter of us being really aware and choosing to clearly accept
mm.
and open ourselves up to receiving and going after the solutions that we need. Yeah.
Super. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, it is always a pleasure.